Hey Red Wings fans, welcome inside Little Caesars Arena where we are going to recap the 2023 NHL Draft. I'm joined by Director of Amateur Scouting, Kris Draper. Kris, another draft in the books. How are you feeling after it?
I feel good about it.
Yeah.
It's amazing how you basically start up in August and, you kind of work all the way through that, the build-up of the 2 days, and we're excited of, the prospects that we were added to the Detroit Red Wing organization. We felt we addressed some needs that we needed to do, and obviously we have everyone, here for development camp right now. All our picks made it in, which is great. I'm excited to be here, and now, my work is done. It's up to Dan Cleary and Nicholas Cronwell. If they don't turn out, it's on those kids.
It's their fault.
It's player development now, Giving them a little something to work with now. It's up to them.
And you enjoyed the time in Nashville. I'm sure you said the city did a great job hosting the draft.
Nashville did a fantastic job. Yeah, it was a great setup. Obviously on draft day was a lot of fun. There was some good excitement, in the rink and around the city, and it was, so it ended up being, we got in on Sunday, obviously, round 2 ended on Thursday. So it was a good time. We had some nice dinners, that, it's nice for all our staff to get together. That's something, which, is certainly important that, all the travel, all the commitment, being away from families, everything. It's nice just to be able to be together and work together. We have a great staff, so it was real good to see everybody. And obviously, like I said, the Wednesday night and into Thursday was a good day for our organization.
I know from your perspective, you prepare to make the picks that you guys have, right? But there was so much speculation from fans, from media, that Steve Yzerman's going to package some of these picks together and make a trade at some point. But you guys actually ended up with an extra pick, drafting 11 players. Did that surprise you at all? Or were you just kind of preparing for what you guys had on the board at that time?
That's what my job is. Obviously, Stevie's going to do his job, and any time he has an opportunity that he feels he's going to make the Detroit Red Wings a better team, he's going to do it with, obviously, the support of everyone in the organization, and that's, so it's interesting, the white noise is out there. We know that, but it was at the, when you're sitting there and you have the picks and you saw the board and whatever was going on that side of it, obviously at the time didn't make sense. And that's why we ended up, drafting and making all the picks. And like you said, we traded back in the second round and added an extra fifth and obviously made the selections.
We'll start with the first rounders. You take centerman Nate Danielson, a right shot centerman with that number 9 overall pick. What did you like about Nate going into the draft?
Interesting. I think it was at 17 years old, he was named captain of the Brandon Wheat Kings, which is obviously pretty impressive, for a young kid to be selected captain at such a young age. And, we really, obviously, the character that he has, the passion that he has for the game, real smart hockey player. He understands how to play the game in all 3 zones. It's something that, at 17, 18, some of these young prospects, need to figure out the play without the puck. Well, Nate understands all of that, and he's obviously a good size right shot centerman, which, just happened to be an added bonus for us. That wasn't the reason why we obviously took him. He's been a player that we've been able to watch over the last couple of years, being a late birthday, and especially in the division that he was in, even last year watching, Brandon playing Winnipeg, because obviously Winnipeg had some draft picks that we had to see, and there were some nights you walk away from the rink if Brandon was playing whoever, and Nate was one of the best players on the ice. So, we were excited that he was there, and we were excited that we were able to bring him into the organization.
You talked about this during your post-draft media availability a little bit, but the fact that Connor Bedard had said that Nate Danielson was one of the toughest centermen to play against in that league, you got to take some weight with that when a prospect of Connor Bedard's caliber is saying that about Nate.
You know what? For sure. It was, we interviewed Connor Bedard, just for that reason. Obviously, he's an incredible talent, an incredible prospect, but he also has, a very good mind for the game. And it was like, you know what? Why don't we interview him and have a conversation? There was a lot of, obviously, prospects from the WHL, and there was no hesitation when he brought that up. So it kind of had a little smile on our face when he said that. It was something that we saw. That he was used in those kind of situations, played against everybody in all situations, and when you have a prospect like Connor Bedard complimenting a Nate Danielson puts a little smile on your face for sure.
And then 17 overall, you take a Swedish defenseman in Axel Sandin Pellikka, a right shot D, which is something that we know the organization was lacking in. How excited were you to get him at 17?
You know what? We were very excited. It's amazing how, not only, our list plays out, but obviously the 31 other teams. You don't know, who anyone likes. You don't know where they covet them, where they want to pick them, where they want to select them. So, it's my job to make sure that our list is in order and we're ready to get the best prospects when we're going to make our selection. So he's a player that obviously we saw a lot of. The one thing that really stood out with me with Axel was at the World Junior Championships, as a 17-year-old prospect playing for Team Sweden. By the end of the tournament, he was running a power play. So that's for that, at that level, for a 17-year-old prospect to be doing that, obviously, speaks for what this kid's all about. He's very calm, he's very poised, he's very confident with the puck. He has the hockey sense, the hands, and the savvy. So when we're sitting there and we were able to get a centerman, which we certainly needed. He happened to be a right shot. And then we're looking there and adding a defenseman. He's basically a D-man that we don't have like that in our organization. So it was good to be able to add him. And like we talked about, being a right shot D, made it that much more important for us.
Can you elaborate on that a little bit, saying that he's a defenseman that you don't really have in the prospect
Well, just
pool?
a guy that we think has an opportunity to run our power play. I think we look at him as a 17-year-old kid stepping up at the biggest stage for, under 20s at the World Juniors and taking over, that spot and that situation. And, when you do that, the reason why you are running a power play is obviously, you have hockey sense, you have high-end skill, you have smarts, you have puck skills, and that's exactly what we think. And you look at that, we feel, the same way of Simon Edvinsson, when he gets healthy, that, he's going to be able to make that jump as well. Big left shot D-man that we hope can do that as well. And now we're, putting in the mix a right shot defenseman that has that opportunity to do that.
You guys as an organization obviously value the time and experience that players spend in the SHL. There's a lot of Red Wings prospects that have spent years there, and even like Mo Sider has spent some time playing over there, Joe Veleno during the COVID season. And Axel said he played in the junior league, and he said that he obviously plans on playing in the SHL next year. Just that's huge for you guys, right? The experience over in the Swedish hockey league.
And the SHL is professional hockey,
right?
Playing against professional hockey players, and that's what that's their living over there, And it's it's probably one of, outside of the NHL, it's probably one of the best leagues there is, and it's not easy. It's hard to play at that level, and it's when you have a prospect that can step in and play in the SHL at 18 years old, it's a compliment to that prospect, and I know. That's exactly where Axel wants to be next year. Obviously, playing for Skellefteå, and for us, like we talked about, having Nicholas Kronwall and Nick Lidstrom over there that are going to be able to have a lot of conversations and build a relationship. I mean, it's so valuable for us to have those guys there. So, we really like what we have in Axel, and the path, is just as important as well. Of how he's going to develop and the opportunity that he's going to get over there as well.
All right, we'll move on to the second round now, where you were in a pretty unique situation of having back-to-back picks. You had to love that, right? As the director of amateur scouting, you're like, okay, we can put together a nice pool of players there.
That was obviously very rare of how that happened. And you're kind of sitting there and making sure. We knew it was going to be, come in, pretty fast. You have, 3 minutes on the clock to make a selection, and so at the time, we were all set. It's we talk about the preparation of getting the list in and the conversation and all that's done. And as we're sitting there, we knew we could have taken any one of the three. We were getting all three.
How did you decide who won first?
Well, we went Phil O'Sear, who's done a lot of work with on the goaltending side. We were very excited to have the opportunity to select Trey Augustine, being watching him his underage year with the development program, then obviously watching him, last year, winning the gold medal at the U18 World Championships, and to me, how he won it, that was something that was that really stood out with us. They were down 2-0 early to Sweden. basically the goalie's mentality probably is, I can't let another goal in. We're going down 3-0 to Sweden in a gold medal game. Chances are not very good for your hockey club. And that's when it seemed like he came up big with some really good saves. And, I said it the other night, that last 15 seconds in regulation, down, shorthanded, he came up with some incredible saves. And then coming into overtime kind of just showed, the demeanor and the poise that Trey has, and obviously ended up winning the gold medal. In European and international hockey, it's you come out, it's a 4-on-3. It's not like the NHL where it's it would stay as a 5-on-4. So a 4-on-3 with some pretty good firepower on Team Sweden. They were able to kill that off, and then obviously go down and end up scoring the gold medal goal and winning the gold medal. And that was something that stood out with us. So there's a lot of body of work with him. Obviously, Phil has really good relationships with Inside USA Hockey, and a local kid, and going to Michigan State, is obviously something pretty special for Trey and his family.
And keeping him that close, obviously, Phil will work with the goaltenders wherever they are in the country, but having him right around the corner at Michigan State is probably going to be beneficial.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. And we obviously know the head coach there, and I have a great relationship with him as well. Something that Phil's going to be able to, he's going to get a lot of touches with him, and obviously Trey's going to get a great opportunity up there, and that's the most important thing, going to a situation where you're going to play a lot, develop a lot, and then having Phil right here is something that is going to be real key in his development. So made it a little bit more exciting, and Phil's excited. Maybe a couple more extra nights at home, just get Trey up the street there, so it's pretty good.
And then 2 more D-men in the second round, and Andrew Gibson and Brady Cleveland. Just what type of defensemen are they? How are they different, and why did they fit?
So Andrew Gibson plays up Sault Ste. Marie. Actually grew up just across here in Windsor, which he grew up as a Wings fan as well. Able to meet his mom and dad, and they just grew up basically or watching the Red Wings their entire lives. And Andrew same thing. Big right shot D-man. Saw him a lot early, ended up getting injured and missed, I think it was about 7 or 8 weeks with an injury. And fortunately was able to come back and play in the World Championships for Team Canada. For a big man, he moves well. He's got a really good stick, right shot. He's going to get a great opportunity next year, on the power play to do that. And, he has some physicality in his game as well. But, he's got, the puck smarts that we like. Certainly he moves well for a big man. He's got a good stick, and he has a little bit of an edge in his game too.
And then Brady Cleveland?
Yep, Brady, same thing, played up in the development program. His underage year, he actually was able to play some games up at U18. So we were able to see him at both levels, playing against his own age group and then playing up with the U18s last year. And he's a big, strong, physical defender. And it's a little bit of a throwback in his game. He embraces the physical side of the game. For his size, he moves well. In that at the U18 World Championships in Switzerland, he played in a bottom pair shutdown role, kills penalties. He's a big time shot blocker, and he's that defenseman that is hard to play against. He embraces the physical side of the game, which is something that same thing, a piece that we wanted to bring into our organization.
And then we'll move to the third round, Noah Dower-Nilsson, which is pretty exciting because Liam is obviously his brother and a part of the Red Wings organization. But I thought it was interesting that you mentioned Noah's injury and that you got to see him early before his injury, and he did enough to impress you before the injury that you watch him after the injury, that they're going to happen, and he's got to come back from it. But what was it about his skill set before that injury that impressed you so much?
Well, early on in, playing in the J20 league, I don't think there was anyone producing more than he was. He put up some really good numbers in that league. And he's a smooth skater. He's got good hands. He has good sense. He can make a lot of plays in tight. And like I said, we're able to see him early on, which is obviously, really important. He came out with, we saw him in the link, saw him in November, and then I was in beautiful Cornwall, Ontario, getting ready to watch him play at the World Junior A Challenge, and he ended up getting hurt his shoulder, and even, he'd be the first one to say that when he came back, he wasn't the same. I think, just like anybody, their draft year, they want to come back. They put a lot of pressure on themselves to come back. Might have maybe came back a little bit too early before he was strong, but as a 17-year-old kid and not being able to, to work out and kind of train like the way you want to is obviously, tough. But, we really, he had flashes where you could really see, some high-end skill. And that was something, that obviously, we coveted. We really liked our Swedish scout, Håkan Andersson and Thomas Carlson had seen him the most. And especially early on, they saw him a lot. And it was, at the time in the third round, it was a player that we saw a lot of. We really liked the skill and sense and, like I said, the skating ability too, and ended up selecting him in the third round.
Steve Yzerman joked that you guys probably wouldn't want to talk to Liam about Noah because he's not going to say anything bad, right? But you had to have asked him a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. He actually said, he was honest. He said he's better than me.
Oh.
So, he was very honest. But, a pretty, human touch to that story.
Yeah.
They were sitting beside each other, obviously, at the draft, and they said, their mom who had passed away, they said, mom would really like this, so, pretty, it's nice to be able to put, a human touch, an emotional touch on, on something like that. And, we ended up, selecting him, and obviously it was a great family moment.
All right, moving on to the fourth round now. Larry Keenan, last 2 seasons at Culver Military Academy. So that was an interesting flair to his career path. What did you like about him?
Size again,
and
then certainly skating ability. This Larry can really get up and down the ice. He has some poise. He has some puck skills that we like, but the skating and size really stood out with us. And there were times, that you'd watch him and he could actually control the hockey game with the way that he played. With playing for Culver, a lot of background check, a lot of good character. Obviously, if you're going to a military academy, you're probably pretty structured in your life, so that was some. We were able to see him play in some pretty good tournaments too. They play in some good prep school tournaments, and obviously being able to see him play, in the end, we think that he has that body type, that frame where he's going to be able to put on a lot of extra, muscle and added weight. He's on a good path. He's going to go play in Penticton and BCHL next year. And then after that, he's going to school. So it kind of gives us, and he needs it. He needs the time to get in the gym and, get physically stronger. But, the skating ability that he has, the size, and obviously the puck skill was intriguing for us.
Moving on to the 5th round picks, you take defenseman Jack Phelan and then left winger Kevin Bicker. Talk about the both of them and what you guys like, why they fit with the Red Wings.
Our U.S. scouts had been on Jack right off the start of the season, and when you start getting into this rounds, this is this is what you want to hear. You want to hear the area scouts getting excited about the potentially drafting a prospect, and like I said, these guys were on Jack right away. Saw him play. Think there's a lot of potential there. A right shot defenseman that has good hockey sense, moves the puck well. He would be more of a passer than a skater, than a puck transporter. Sees the ice well, moves it. That's something that obviously you like at that position. From your quick exit from the defensive zone to get it, obviously, into his forwards and into the offensive zone is one of his best assets. So that was that's a big reason why we obviously ended up picking Jack. And then the same thing, he's going to play another year at junior, then he's going to school, going into Wisconsin. So we start, talking about, the path that they have, the projection that we have for them. And then, letting these guys just take time, is really something that's important for a lot of these, younger players. Kevin Bicker saw at the World Championships, obviously represented Germany there. The thing that stood out for me right away when I saw him was the way this kid skates. He's a very good skater. He plays the game fast. He loves, taking pucks to the net, getting to the hard areas. So that was something that jumped out, for us right away with, how fast he liked to play the game.
All right, in the 6th round, another goaltender is added in, Rudy Guman. Am I saying that correctly?
I think so. Sounds good.
You heard it here, everybody. So if we're incorrect, all right, Guman. All right.
If not, it is now.
Exactly. Another interesting path and going to prep school, and then he's going to play at Yale.
Yep.
What did you like about Rudy? And I can tell you what I liked. When I was listening to him talk, I was like, this kid is so intellectual. Like, he is smart, very smart. I know. I'm like, said he's going to do something with math, too.
Yeah.
Genius. drafting geniuses.
We might have drafted our smartest prospect. It was for me when talking to Phil. We obviously didn't draft a goalie last year. We were very excited to get Trey, and then we kind of had a list of goaltenders in what direction we wanted to go. So for us, same thing. We get an opportunity to be patient with them. He's been unreal here. He's taking everything in. He might be walking the concourse right now to see everything about the Detroit Red Wings. So he's so excited, and he said honored to be a Detroit Red Wing. So Detroit Red Wing prospect. So that was obviously pretty neat to hear. But we love the size obviously is something that 6'4" goaltender. That moves well, has kind of a good combination of on the technical side and athletic side, and same thing. What we talk about is just he's going to play in Cedar Rapids next year in the USHL, and then just patience with these guys. That's the thing that you like. He's going to play USHL, and if he feels he needs to play another year, he will do that. He understands the path and how long it could take for goaltenders to keep making the next steps, but. The size and obviously he had a very good year in Taft, and that's the reason why we ended up selecting him where we did.
Okay, your final pick of the draft in the 7th round was Emmett Finney, another centerman. Did you feel like you wanted to add another centerman there? Was that a big part of the last pick in the draft, or how did that play out? Like
we talked about in the 5th round, with Jack, very similar. Our Greg Hoggett lives in Kamloops. One of our Western League scouts, and Bryce Tolman obviously seen him play a ton. He played for Kamloops, who hosted the Memorial Cup. So he's in the Memorial Cup. I was able to watch him play throughout the year and in the playoffs on a very good team. And the thing that I liked about him was, he was kind of pushed down the lineup because obviously the talent that Kamloops had, but he always found a way to play in some important minutes in a role on that team. So it looks like there's some determination in his game. He understands, where he was, kind of where he fitted and where he was slotted in on a really good Western Hockey League team with the Kamloops Blazers, and was able to find a role. He knows going into next year with a lot of those players that have moved on, he's going to get a bigger opportunity. It's something that he feels that he can handle. He's looking forward to, and he knows he has to have a big summer to get ready for that. But it's kind of interesting when you have your area scout that lives in the town where he played, and then you're sitting there in the 7th round, and you want to bring this prospect into the Detroit Red Wings, and obviously all the character and background checks that we did came out real positive, and everyone really likes this kid and thinks that there's a lot more to him given an opportunity, and they'll get the opportunity, and then we just same thing, we just kind of wait and see.
In development camp this week, which is always exciting, having some of the young prospects in, not only from this draft but past drafts as well. My question for you is this. Last year, I know for the 3-on-3 tournament that you guys do annually at the development camp, the 4 coaches had a draft.
Yeah.
Are you guys doing that again this year?
Yeah. Well, you knew who won last year, right?
You did.
Yeah.
I interviewed you. You don't remember? I was making sure you got your bragging.
You just say that. You didn't say that.
Sorry. You can't. You have to repeat now. That is in the past. You have to repeat this year.
I know, but you didn't even let our viewers and our listeners know that I'm the defending champion. That's what I thought you were going with. You set it up perfectly for the delivery, and then you...
I failed.
Right?
Sorry.
It was like right there for you.
I forgot to pump you up. I'm sorry. You won. Defending champ of the 3-on-3 tournament. Do you know what pick you have in the draft yet?
I don't.
Okay.
And Cleary will somehow stack it in his favor.
It didn't work last year.
No. Yeah. And so, you know what? We'll... I'll be ready to go when the puck drops.
And we will be live streaming that, so all of you can tune in. That's on the 5th. That'll be Wednesday of next week, so it'll be a lot of fun to see some of the excitement of the 3-on-3 tournament. Amadeus Lombardi was electric last year, so excited to see how it looks this year.
Yeah, I think it should be fun. And, like I said, I can't say enough of what Dan Cleary and Nicholas Cronwall do, for our prospects. We've talked about this every time we start talking about draft picks. And then this week, what they have set up for them, everything. There's so much information for these, young prospects of, nutrition, what you do in the gym, obviously sleep habits, on ice, off ice, all that stuff. It's incredible. So it's nice that all our prospects made it in, from the draft, which is great. So everyone's excited to be a part of it, and it's underway right now. It's great.
All right. Well, thank you for taking the time to join us and recap that 2023 draft class. It's going to be an exciting one.
Appreciate that. As always, thank you.
Pressure's on Dan and Nick Hunters.
All right, we said that.
Pressure's on them.
Yeah.
Thanks again, Kris.
Thank you.